Who's got the Discord on? Let me guess. Queensland.
It's always Null.
It's always hearing that shit in his sleep.
Welcome to Game of Nodes, a weekly podcast on the cosmos from independent validator teams. Hello, welcome to Game of Nodes, a weekly podcast on the cosmos from independent validator teams. And I was just going to go get a glass of water, but I guess I'm not.
You can
now.
still go and get it. I was just going to do the introduction while you're actually gone.
It's getting more professional week on week as we go on.
You had that tiny window to get the water, Frey, and now it's up.
I mean, this wouldn't be the first time that I got rugged on essential pre-show prep and then had to do 90 minutes parched. But okay, as the astute of you among the viewers will have noticed, we have a guest this week. We have Tendermint Timmy, who you will probably know from, well, Twitter for starters, and also from Spark IBC. And Timmy's here to talk about his new project, which we'll talk about in a little bit. And I've just seen somebody drop into the waiting room that we haven't seen in a little while.
Look at that.
Hey.
Cometh the hour, cometh the man. Hello, Schultzy. How are you doing?
I am doing great. However, I don't know if I have my stuff set up just yet. So I'm going through the testing process. So if you can hear me, that's a step of the way.
You sound good.
Sound crisp?
Great.
Test and prod. That's how we do it.
Test and prod. That's the
Also, really
way.
like
That's how we do it. I thought I'd join this live stream to see if my mic works.
Perfect.
Did you say you had a new microphone?
No, he
he doesn't know how to operate it yet.
Yeah,
He jinxed it.
headphones don't work there.
He jinxed it.
Yeah. Does anyone know how to turn off the volume on Discord?
No, what you do, Null, is for like just 90 minutes of your life, you close
Discord.
Control Q.
Yeah, on Mac, you.
I think if you set yourself to do not disturb.
I closed Discord and Telegram, and it was damaging to me.
Yeah.
Well, close them or I'll damage you.
Oh shit! So aggressive.
I just pinged you on Discord to see if your phone binged.
No. You bastard. No, I closed it.
Oh, okay,
all good.
All right.
So yeah, welcome to Tendermint Timmy and the organized show that is the Game of Nodes. Let me get up the sheet, guys. Let me get up the sheet.
This is just how I like my shows.
I mean,
Organized is boring.
I have to say that, like, what we lack in organization, I like to think we make up for in entertainment value. But whether or not that is the case, I don't know. So I actually, the first thing I think that's on the sheet, or fucking should be anyway, speaking of organization, number one, anybody that was around for last week will have witnessed the absolute brutal end of the show. Usurper, I'm sorry. There is a 90-minute. I don't make the rules.
I don't make the rules. I just enforce them.
But I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. But we're doing follow-ups, so if you'd like to pick up the point that you were making last week when we cut off the show, now is the platform is yours.
I don't remember what I was saying, but I think the ending was going to be "and Null is an asshole."
It was deep.
I think that was it. I think that
it was
then I was going to go
meaningful. I remember. It was,
yeah, and then you cut me off.
Thing. Yeah,
that was a good cutoff. I was not wait. I had no idea that one was coming. At all.
Absolutely devastating.
It was devastating.
And then so the other follow-up I wanted to bring up was, I don't know if we talked about this last week, but I rewatched the episode where I missed the first part and Usurper was holding down the fort solo. And so there was a poll on Twitter from Game of Nodes about whether or not people would like to see one-on-one interviews or something like that with founders. And we were positing that if Null wanted to do it, then he could call it Late Night with Null. I'm going to put it out there that having rewatched the part of the episode that I missed with Simon from Noise, that actually it should be Late Night with Usurper, because Usurper is actually a good interviewer, unlike the rest of us. The bit before all the rest of us cavalcade in there's a lot of good content. And then there's
for
a whole
like
section in the middle where we're just basically grilling him on random aspects of tokenomics and stuff. And like, I don't care about tokens. I'm trying to talk to you about the League of Entropy. And Null's like, I don't care about your comic book series, Simon. I want to hear about tokens. He's like, it's not a comic book series. It's an important way of the randomness is generated. And you're like, I don't even read Marvel. Why would I read them even more obscure? And we're all like trying to pull you. This was I didn't remember this at the time until I rewatched it. But we're basically trying to pull you back, Null, and you're like, you call him a nerd and stuff. And we're like, Simon's a great guy. And
it's all the.
What show were you watching?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised I didn't remember it at the time, but I think you might have an anger management problem, dude. Just that would be my feedback from the episode. Usurper, great job holding down the fort.
Thank you.
Null, anger management issues.
Well, he's Australian. What can you do?
Look, I feel attacked.
You feel like attacked. Yeah.
I think
that's how I felt at the end of last episode.
Okay, so
that was different. That was just friendly banter.
It's just the way
I'm feeling attacked. I'm feeling triggered. I want my mummy.
Well, okay. So on that note, Timmy, before we talk about like the latest project that you're involved in, do you want to give us a little bit of background about how you got into the Cosmos and what your involvement was? Because I guess my first interaction with you probably was like maybe Twitter threads and stuff like that. But I guess that's probably not the first thing. Well, maybe it is the first thing you did in the Cosmos. But kind of if you want to just introduce yourself and then kind of we can ask some more questions from there.
Yeah, sure. First off, thanks for having me on. I really appreciate it. I think this will be fun. Already been a blast. But yeah, so I'm a longtime crypto fan. Like, I think I was already sort of aware of Bitcoin when like Litecoin and Dogecoin launched. I remember mining them on a laptop that had no business mining. And I'm pretty sure it was really what got me into the Cosmos was CZ's tweet back in the day. Didn't even have Twitter at the time, but through some other channels, I saw the tweet he made basically saying, we're listing Atom and they're not paying a listing fee. I didn't even do any research first. I was just like, that's massive. I'm going to go buy as much Atom as I can. So I did that, put it in a private wallet, staked it, and then continued to kind of bop around the rest of crypto, definitely keeping an eye on it. But then when the Starport upgrade happened a year or two ago, and I remember when I first was like exploring and I found my Osmosis and Juno airdrop, even with the Osmosis decayed a bit, my jaw was just on the floor. I was like, oh wait, what is this? Is this real? I can't believe this is real. And from there, I just kind of dove in. I mean, prior to that, I had done research on what I bought and invested in like the general Cosmos ethos and like game plan for the future, and super bullish on it. I came to a realization relatively early on that like the future is not one chain. Like it just isn't, like in any way, shape, or form. So Cosmos seemed to be the only ecosystem that was really embracing that philosophy fully and like designing from the ground up for it. So I just kind of fell in love pretty quickly with what was being built. I don't remember what got me on Twitter to start with. Something must have, where I was like, well, guess I'll make an account and start engaging with these people. But thank God I did. Ever since, I've just been sort of along for the ride and loving the community and all the tech and developments and just the general ethos, really. And then maybe somewhere about a year ago to a half a year ago, somewhere in that realm, I had an idea for a project that actually felt original and needed. You know, I've, of course, in my time in crypto, had many ideas for like a new NFT collection or a DEX or something, but nothing that, you know, someone else isn't probably already doing better. And that idea was for Spark IBC. And so just a good real life friend of mine who is a developer, we just sort of embarked on building that, and happy to talk about that. But I think that kind of brings us up to like modern day. And now Spark has launched, and the first like big effort by Spark is this new project, Interchain Info.
So I guess, it would be good. It would be good to like have a bit more like what is Spark and what's the game plan, what's the goal there? Because I think most people will probably have seen Spark related to maybe developer resources.
Yep.
That's probably what most people will associate with it, I think.
Yeah,
but it's substantially more than that, isn't it? From your perspective as somebody who knows like the beginning to the project and where it's going, right?
Totally. Yeah, Spark is something that will definitely grow over time. I'm super happy with where it's at and like what we've done so far, but it's definitely just like the seed of what it will become. So what Spark is and the general sort of motivation behind building it is I'd become friends with a couple people in the ecosystem who wanted to build certain chain agnostic things or embark on various chain agnostic efforts that were just sort of interchain focused. They weren't, fully a Juno effort or fully an Osmo effort or whatever. And they had a lot of trouble finding funding because, a lot of these funding sources, be they community pools or grants, are more or less reserved for stuff being built on the chain that they come from. And I thought that seemed pretty silly considering we were in the interchain and like we have all decided one chain isn't going to work, but also a whole bunch of chains, each on their own independently, aren't going to make it either. We need this sort of like network and like team ecosystem vibe. And then I also just saw a couple cool efforts going around that seemed like it would be cool to have some recognition attached to the people participating and some structure around them in general. So like one hilarious example, because it's so small and silly, but I think this was actually the first seed of an idea for Spark. One of our validators in the Cosmos, Joe Abbey, ran a contest to try and decentralize Chihuahua chain more. Basically it was an on-chain automated thing. So no liking, retweeting, tagging friends. It was just if you are delegated to a validator in the top 20 and you redelegate to someone in the lower 80 in this time frame, your wallet will be automatically entered into a raffle for a prize pool, basically. I thought that was a really cool thing to do. I tagged a couple validators I was friends with or knew in the ecosystem, and they contributed to that prize pool, which I just thought was super cool because, like, in theory, the validators are competitors. In theory, this is all a financial system, but like that and a couple other things I saw like it. One was a time when Jacob Gattikin was like offering to buy validators hardware out of money from his own pocket so that they would stop missing epoch on osmosis for people who are on bare metal. And both those things and the funding thing I mentioned earlier just made me realize it would be really cool to have a platform that was focused on sort of chain agnostic or community driven things, whether they're projects or contests like that, or developer resources and educational workshops, like you mentioned, Frey, where people who clearly already want to contribute, I saw it happen time and time again, like with that contest, can now like have somewhere with a little structure to it and where the people who donate get some sort of recognition there. So for every one USDC donated, you get one Spark minted into your wallet. They're non-transferable. So we don't have a token you can like invest in. They really are a representation that this wallet has contributed to the interchain. Right now, the only use of those Spark points are just we have a fun leaderboard, just a bit of gamification, where validators and users alike can, link to their stuff, put a custom name in, and see where they stack up as far as Spark points and donations with other people. But we definitely do intend to have those Spark points unlock some cool stuff in the future as well. But so, yeah, I guess the only other thing I'd add, sorry if that was a little long-winded, is right now it's very much like something that we manage and do. Our first campaign, which required no funding because people in this ecosystem are awesome, we're getting together a couple of the big brain devs and having them do live workshops on things like validating, intro to COSM, WASM, flash loans, bunch of cool stuff. Our second campaign was for TerraSpaces to try and get him a little bit of funding and appreciation. I think he's the definition of like a chain agnostic effort. But what we hope this will evolve to long term, and why I'm like thrilled to be able to talk about this on platforms like this show, is a tool that the community can use and a platform for anyone. So if you have an idea or know of an existing effort that seems to sort of fit our guidelines of being like chain agnostics or pretty grassroots and like small in scale, that you can come to our platform, approach us, and from there, you know, we will have to like approve. We won't just like do anyone who comes to us with a campaign idea, but we'll offer to either like run that campaign alongside you, do a bunch of work with XYZ, or really put it in your hands. So long as we like the idea, we're fine to say, cool, use the platform, do your thing. Like it's so in that way, it's some kind of mix between like a launch pad and a charity.
So have you had much buy-in yet from other validators with donations and that type of stuff? Like, is it taken off in that regard, or are we still like you still got trying to like engage?
I'd say it's definitely still pretty small. I mean, we do have like quite a few like validators and just friends in the ecosystem who are like super on board with what we're doing, who've made some donations. But honestly, we've only done one campaign so far. So this is more on our end. The general fund is something on Spark that is always open, that you can donate to at any time, which goes to a multi-sig with a majority of non-team members, just community people that I'm sure you recognize, that kind of is used for general purposes. So we might use it for like really any number of things. And so even though that's open at all times, you know, we've only had the one campaign and people haven't really seen what this money gets used for yet. And so like, that's totally fine. I'm a big believer in like show before you tell and ship before you ask for money, whether it's funding or donations. So we're definitely still on the like startup phase as far as people interacting with it and donating. But I think that makes sense. If I were a validator who didn't know me, Timmy, personally, and I looked at this, I'd probably be like, seems cool, but like, I don't know why I would just donate to some random platform. So we gotta prove ourselves first. And I think Interchain Info will be a massive step towards that.
I definitely like your platform, and I love the some of the educational content that you guys have put out. You had Zeke on there, right, for the intro to Cosmosm?
Yes. In fact,
man,
little alpha for the devs out there. Zeke recently did some recording of some stuff like that and sent it to me that I'm going to edit. So we're going to have more Zeke tutorials going up soon for people who love to learn from a big brain like him.
That'll be awesome. And you guys have been doing the any hint of what those tutorials might be about? Cosmosm related, I guess.
Yeah. I think this one is pretty focused on flash loans, which is interesting. I think it's just something Zeke has personally been enjoying exploring. It was something he did for a live workshop a while back. And I think he's maybe just been in that headspace ever since. Or at least it's been occupying some little quadrant of his mind, you know?
So you guys also have like pretty regular Twitter spaces. And what's the general ethos behind that? Is that just basically at a given time or, you know, reasonably regular time, you guys just start a space and people come in and you just bring up people to talk, or do you generally have like a program that you follow or specific things that you talk about week to week, or is it just a bit of an open platform to just generally talk about the cosmos?
Yeah. So I guess we have kind of two things in that regard. I myself as just Timmy, one of the ways this might have even been the reason I made the Cosmos Twitter in the first place. I don't know. I have I first off do not claim to be a dev. I do not claim to be like an expert on all these protocols out here, but I do have like some teaching experience, and I've grown to be pretty proficient in like breaking down concepts into simple terms and like explaining like I'm five type stuff. So I started a program that runs every Wednesday, except today, because I think this will be in place of it, called Cosmonaut Bootcamp, where back in the bull market, it was really an open platform for like no stupid questions. So it was just a Twitter space once a week where you could come, and usually people would bring their friends, like crypto naive people, where they could literally just ask like, what's the difference between Kepler and like Cosmos Station? Or like, what is a wallet even? Or like staking, and like just a really good atmosphere where you wouldn't be afraid to ask basic questions, because we've all been there. Crypto's complicated, scary. Self-sovereignty comes with a lot more responsibility. Lately, that has morphed more, since we've had like less new people in the bear, that's morphed more into like an exploring the Cosmos thing, where I'll usually have some project that I'll interview. So like recently we did Cato, the on-ramp. Before that, we did Nobatech, which is another on-ramp coming to the Cosmos here soon. I'm having one soon in the future here with Leap Wallet, et cetera, et cetera.
I actually I used to drop in occasionally, I think, to your Cosmos bootcamp, and man, I have to say, like it was a really good platform back then when I used to go visit there. Probably still is, but your personal style and like the tolerance of people who sort of jump in and might be a little bit silly, but also your like ability to sort of stay on the track and help people out, I guess, was I really appreciated that.
I appreciate that
as a listener, you know what I mean?
Yeah, thank you. That means a lot. Yeah, I think like realizing that I had a teaching gene was helpful. Like I did some tutoring. I'm a video editor by trade, so in my like free time before I really got into Cosmos, I would do Fiverr, but not for video editing jobs, but for teaching people video editing. And actually, I still offer that to people in the Cosmos. There's tons of people that I've talked with, usually just casually offhand, they'll mention they're doing some video project or something. And I'll be like, oh, if you want to schedule a call, like I'd love to give you some tips or crash course if the program's new to you or whatever. I think like spreading education is just key, especially if you can do it in like a clean and digestible manner.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke, but I won't.
I'll add one other thing on the Twitter space question. So recently another space, this is Spark IBC more so, that's like hosting this along with Cosmos Spaces. Once at the end of every month, we recently just did our first one for October. We're going to be doing something called a Cosmos Town Hall. It won't be on the exact same date and time because we have a lot of schedules to coordinate. But basically what we'll do there, and what we just recently did, is like 15 to 30 minutes recap of the month. So just quickly going through the major things that happened in the Cosmos in the prior 30 days. And then a panel of guests on whatever a hot topic that month is. So we just did liquid staking. We had on Stride, Persistence, Putmos. We were going to have Stake Easy and Quicksilver, but both of them like had issues mere hours before. So that's something we're going to be continually doing as well at the end of every month, that hopefully turns into a pretty big and like really community effort where everyone can kind of tune in. And, yeah.
So you guys are also running validators, right?
We are. Yeah, we have Spark IBC validators on a couple chains. The major ones are RHINO and Evmos. But then we're also on, let me make sure I don't miss any here, Nomic, Territory, Passage, Stride, Gravity, Huawei, and Odin.
That's quite a few.
Yeah, it's a lot.
So what happened there actually is we recently partnered with an existing validator team that was only on some of the smaller networks that I just mentioned. They were called Steady Crypto.
I remember actually. Yeah. I'm a big fan of Steady actually. Like they've been around for a little while now. Always been a smaller validator, but I'm glad that they've teamed up with.
Did you know they run the Airdrops One account on Twitter?
Yes, I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, like, they've got like a lot of moral fiber. They basically like refuse to advertise themselves on Airdrop 1 as well. Yeah.
No, I love them.
Constantly
honestly.
giving shout outs to like other validators and
even now, whenever we do a list of validators, Spark won't be at the top. Like, we think that's a good kind of rule of thumb if we want to practice what we preach about decentralization and lifting up others. Yeah,
for sure. That's like that shows a lot of restraint, I guess. It's always when you're a validator and you're trying to do like value add things and different bits and pieces, like it's always hard to not want to try and shove yourself at the top of the list and use that platform to like advertise yourself. You know what I mean? So yeah. I can appreciate that's quite an effort to put in that restraint.
It's funny you mentioned that though, because like I am of that mindset heavily. Like, I really don't like shilling my own stuff. Like I said, I like showing rather than telling. And so it's actually been kind of hard for me recently because both Evmos and Juno, Evmos more so, has been a struggle. Like, we've been dancing on the floor. We've popped out of the active set for like a couple minutes at a time, multiple times. And so it's been really hard to find that balance of like, okay, we have to go post something. We have to shill ourselves. But also me being like, I don't love it when I see, another validator posting 10 times a day about, delegate to me. So it's a hard balance to find.
Look,
I'm sure.
I'm going to give you some sound advice here. Shill yourself.
Yeah.
Because this is to be on a level playing field with everyone else. You got to shill yourself because
absolutely,
not everyone's going to have that same, restraint or
yeah.
And what I'm saying is like
the point is it's a
you're operating like up here and everyone else is down here. So get the degens and at least give yourself a bit of a kick up because other people aren't going to do it for you. So and your community is like the number one thing in validating as well. Obviously there's node and node security and being able to run all this stuff, which obviously Steady Crypto is like good at. But I mean, if you want to be viable long term and have any kind of income that's going to be able to support your other efforts, shill yourself, man. And people won't mind if you're doing it for the kind of reasons you are. So
yeah, no, I appreciate that, and I've been hearing that from all angles recently. So go delegate to Spark IBC on Juno and Evmos.
Fuck.
I literally just saw Usurper's face go like, that's gonna hit the limiter.
That's okay.
I went like literally 2 inches closer to the mic than I am right now. I didn't think it'd be that.
I think we're all sitting in front of some pretty big monitors and my ears almost just fucking exploded.
Oh, sorry guys.
RHINO's only like 6 spots above Spark. So if you're going down that list, hey, stop at 119 for as well.
Yeah, no,
sorry, continue.
No, I didn't have anything major.
I was going to say, like, I think, Schultz, you're on, we're talking about Osmosis, right?
Evmos.
Oh, Evmos? Oh, Evmos, yeah. Fuck, man. Evmos is tough.
Yeah.
Evmos is tough.
It
is. Yeah, it is.
So it seems like the definition of a chain where the idea that it's just a multi-angled war of all against all. Yeah. And everything's just slipping towards the whatever the game theory dominant strategy is, which is I don't know, fucking tattoo yourself or something, and everybody was just is kind of my impression of the
osmosis is where the money is, right?
Yeah.
Not in validating specifically. I just mean literally. That's where the liquidity goes through.
Yeah.
That's where the liquidity goes through.
Osmosis is the real hub, right? That's the meme. Right. Osmosis is the real hub.
It's no meme, sir.
Well, I mean, it's true, but it's also the meme. But it is true. Like, it is factually correct. Like, it is definitely factually correct. But it is also the meme, Null. It's very important that we don't piss anybody off. So we're
the distinction between the fact and the meme.
We're joking by referencing the meme, but we're also deadly. But we don't.
I get it.
There will be multiple hubs in the cosmos for sure.
So, Timmy, I just want to know, you're obviously deep in the cosmos, right? Like you communicating with people all the time. You on Twitter a lot, and I want to know, as someone deeply involved, what is the spiciest shit you've heard this week? Where's the spice, man? There's been some shit go on this week, so
Shit every
you
week.
know,
Yep.
I think
I want to hear what's near and dear to your heart on the shit list.
I mean, first, it's not super spicy, all things considered, the level of spice we get to in the Cosmos, but I'd say like the Jackal drama has definitely been what's kind of occupying the
Oh yeah, that's on
drama
our
part
list.
of my mind this week.
That's a good one.
Ooh, you consider that
Yeah.
not very spicy? I mean, notional
Holy
punching
shit.
is it too loud?
Well, it's not as spicy as the anti-Semitic arc we had a week or two ago, I feel like.
Oh yeah, that was we never talked. Oh no, we did. We brushed on that, didn't we?
We did talk about it, but
Yeah.
I mean,
I
it's
think
just
everyone's
one of
like when we were
it's-
talking about it.
Yeah.
Well, I think the difficulty is what people learn from that situation is that there is an anti-Semitism problem in Cosmos. B, there is a hardcore group of people that are going to, if you say anything about Jaquan, they're going to come after you, and those two things combined make it tedious to point out the obvious, which is that there is a pretty solid case against Jaquan. I mean, he fucking checked in a series of Git committed anti-Semitic content to a repository
So
that is signed with his fucking key. I mean, literally, there is
Yeah.
no more guilty than you can be than curating over a period of time and adding Git commits with your thoughts as you do it. To like it's so red-handed that it's comedic. The only defense available is to say, I don't think I've done anything wrong, or the classic pedophile defense, which is, oh, it was research, right? Either of which
It was research.
no, it's a really common defense for
Yeah.
people in the public eye
I
who
didn't
get
know that.
caught with pedophilic material. They say, I was researching a role because I'm an actor or something like that. And it's very,
yeah.
very hard to prove like
Otherwise.
to do anything other than a misdemeanor of having the content rather than like distributing or any of the other things, which, let's be honest, it's quite obvious that
I'm pretty sure all that Jay did
know.
too was just take the last like 300 images posted to Biz and just upload them to GitHub. Like, I went through that repo and like it was just like a ton of like 4chan level conspiracy and like shit posts amongst with anti-Semitism like just sprinkled throughout. It was really bizarre, honestly. I don't know how he has the following he does, to be honest. But
yeah.
Somehow that
And
makes it
I
worse.
think the fact that you can't criticize it or point it out is like incredibly unhealthy.
oh yeah.
That whole drama cycle is, and I've noticed it's kind of vaguely been kind of lingering along in the background this week at all, and it is the most tedious plot line of the Cosmos at the moment for me. I'm just like, I'm ready for Jaquan to fuck off, frankly.
I
Like,
don't.
Cheers for
Here's
10
what I
minutes.
don't. Here's what I don't get.
Nice.
Like you mentioned, Frey. There's clearly an army of people who will like stand up for him and like rally. But so when I started making this account, and up until only like a few months ago, I'd basically follow anyone with a Cosmos icon in their like name or their bio, including Jay. And not once on my feed ever do I see stuff from Jay or people supporting him. So like, are there just two completely separate communities on Twitter, like his and the rest of Cosmos? Because like, where are these people that support him? I haven't been selective in who I follow. You know what I mean?
They only come out when you give him a hard time.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
No kind of has its own thing going on as well, just because of I don't know exactly what because it doesn't seem like the group of people involved in No would necessarily be distinct from the rest of the Cosmos. But
Right.
So Jacob used to be a heavy supporter of No as well. Is he still, or is he
well,
sort
not
of-
anymore. I would imagine.
I would
based
imagine
on-
he's not,
based on
yeah.
him being the leader of the we need to cancel Jay now.
If I had to guess, though, knowing Jacob, his attitude would probably be something like, Jay bad, tech good. Make the
Yeah, I
distinction.
was thinking the same thing. He might just be like,
Basically.
yeah, maybe.
well,
Yeah.
it's like good. So yeah,
Well-
I don't know. You never know with Jacob which way he might go.
Well, Jacob was historically a big supporter of Jay, wasn't he?
Yeah, up until recently.
Well, that's why he had the copy of the GitHub repo, I guess, because he was added to it.
Well, I mean,
Which,
that's
by the-
also a little bit strange because, like, I'm pretty sure in his post he said that he had shared that link with him quite some time ago, but I could be wrong about that.
Yeah, he said he'd been like sleeping on it, and something recently prompted him to be like, you know what, this is not okay. I need to make this public.
Yeah, and also there's like a lot there are, I gather, some layoffs and things at ICF at the moment, and there's a lot of money and there's a lot of influence around that organization, and their priorities do matter to how the cosmos looks to the outside world, which doesn't always matter. I mean, who gives a fuck to some extent, but if you're trying to get devs into the ecosystem in particular, the level of clown car that's going on does matter. If you're trying to convince good people to consider leaving doubly so in a bear market, to consider leaving a stable, regular dev job and come do whatever the fuck it is we're doing here. And like the drama stuff does not help, really does not help. And then there's also just all the stuff about like the ICF is a big funder. They have big projects. They have big pockets. They have projects that affect the whole interchain. And instability and toxicity have a knock-on effect that's outsized. And you can and I think that's one where it's difficult. It would be difficult to argue based on the evidence we've seen from people talking about Tendermint back in the day and ICF now and what goes on, that there isn't something of a toxic culture there.
Mm-hmm.
And that feels like it's coming from that direction. But admittedly, that's just my take from fucking seeing people talking about it. I actually don't know. I don't know enough about it to like make a call on that. So I'll leave that to somebody else to go and investigate. But it seems like there is a problem there, and there has historically been a problem there as well. So
I don't really want to for us to get too hung up again on this topic. So kind of moving on, the drama over my night that's reared its head, and I'm sure you guys got to experience it in real time, is the Hetzner sacking Solana. They've just ransacked a bunch of nodes and dropped out like a whole heap of Solana validators. So I believe that's increased the fear level by 1,000 in the cosmos, which I think spicy as shit, and I love it.
The OVH team's sitting back smoking cigars right now. I tell you that.
Yeah, I've got fat cigars.
Like, come on over, boys.
OVH Armada, just ready to take the pills.
Friendly?
Oh, they are. Yeah, in their terms of service, they're crypto friendly, and there's more options in terms of data centers, and
my rep has explicitly told me that I can do it. So
to do what?
Seifu, run nodes. They said we won't.
Oh yeah,
they don't shut down your POS networks. We don't care.
It's in their terms of service, everything else. Yeah, but I'm sure those guys are feet up on desk, just watching.
And then I asked him
the orders
for
come
a
in.
Discount, and he said I don't spend enough money. I'm like,
yeah. Why would they? It's like asking
he
Amazon
said,
for
maybe if you bought like
discount.
100 nodes. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
Mm-hmm. What do you think I am?
I will say though,
got that kind of budget.
You think I run on Terraform and fucking Docker containers?
Yeah, I was like just getting PTSD from my week, which was a little bit like that.
Well, at least
except with you do spend enough, but here are some additional conditions that are not desirable, and you're like,
the Frey. At least they're going to be really hesitant to cut you off because they are cutting checks. So I think your boy Bezos has got your back. I don't think he is going to like.
I think they'll be fine.
Well,
give you
my
the job.
understanding of the T's and C's is you can't run proof of work chains, but you can run proof of stake chains.
Sure,
it's the mining bit. I know them, but at least unless it's changed, the mining bit was explicitly a no in the AWS TOCs.
That kind of makes sense, though, right?
Yeah, it totally makes sense.
Just
Who the fuck would run
taxing.
that up there anyway? Those GPU costs are ridiculously expensive up there. So, you would never make money. I don't think.
I have a question I'd love, like, all your guys' input on that's been prompted and kind of bouncing around in my head since the Hetzner news earlier. I'm wondering, like, and this is not a thought, really, it's just something I've been bouncing around, like I said. I'm wondering if, like, a path forward might be to change some of the lower level stuff with Tendermint and the Cosmos SDK to more so facilitate bare metal validators. Like, I don't do the DevOps on our nodes. I don't know a lot of the details. I won't claim to, but things just like there are certain reasons that people are opposed to doing bare metal right now.
It's nothing to do with Tendermint. Nothing.
Well, not Tendermint. Well, I guess where would be like downtime slashing? Yeah, that's not Tendermint.
Downtime slashing isn't really an issue.
That's just a parameter.
It's not an issue. It's just not an issue. You've got 13 hours to bring a node up. Like, if you do a serious government contract, you're on 3 nines. That's like, what, 8 hours or something during the year?
Yeah. I know. Yeah, I think someone's know.
Somebody who once brought down a server for 2 hours because of a fuck up, like, that is a stressful SLA. 13 hours, which you can potentially do like once a week and get away with to do maintenance.
Well, once every other day.
Like, it's chill as fuck. Like, Cosmos is apart from the risk of double sign, Cosmos is incredibly benign as a system to run in the grand scheme of things.
What's holding you guys back from running bare metal vals, or are you?
I think we all run bare metal vals.
I think everyone.
Well, no. So there's two things here. Timmy's talking about
in-home
bare metal at your house.
Yeah.
Yes. It's just like internet for me. It's just not possible because of the bandwidth requirements. Like, if you're running 10 chains from your house, you're like going to be missing shit all over the place.
That's all it is. It's fucking noise.
So there's also like stigma, Timmy. Like, if you're running bare metal at your house on a fast chain, right, and you're missing like 1 in 5 blocks, it's just that people look at that and they think you're a shit operator. You might not be.
Yeah.
But people just don't understand the limitations of actually running that shit from your house. So if you're on Say Network, and even Jacob tried to run it from their office, which they've got some reasonably decent internet connections there, and they were missing shit all over the place just because it's too fast and the latency's no good. And if you're running a bunch of other crap on that same network, you're just never going to hit all the blocks. And then that comes with a stigma from the public. They look at because people are always throwing up the bloody uptime from ping.
But what if we were to coordinate with Kepler, Cosmos Station, Mintscan, everywhere that shows uptime, and like,
we can't even coordinate with these people to fix their fucking display of validator.
I know.
Like, they just don't give a fuck.
Yeah. The problem is not that you should run your stuff from your house, because you should not do that. Your ISP will cut you off. There are a whole bunch of things that can happen. It's also just not what Tendermint is designed to run. 150, maybe 200, maybe a bit more validators at present. I mean, it's a peer-to-peer network, networking protocol where every peer has to communicate with every other peer in order to make a block. Like, that is not. It's designed in a particular way to do a particular thing, which it sort of implies by its design in its current form is a kind of it's meant to be run on a rack, probably. It's kind of
I see absolutely no fucking problem with running it in a data center. Like,
it's not
other than when a lot come together.
It's not like a light client thing you can run with like a lot of misses and be sort of fine because of the general network power. Like, that's a lot of the properties of what am I trying to say? I'm trying to say that, right? So the point is, Tendermint is about fast finality. It's about fast finality. It's about that property rather than like liveness in the same way. It's about like privileging that liveness rather than say the things that proof of work privileges, which is can come in and out and etc., or other chains where there's a random seed in the consensus protocol or different implementations of partially Byzantine fault tolerant systems where they have a hub and spokes model, or they have a leader election like you'd have in like other distributed systems like Apache Kafka or anything that uses Raft or something like that. There are a whole bunch of ways to solve that particular problem, but you're always making trade-offs in distributed systems, and Tendermint has made like a kind of choice to be like light clients can interact with it, but light clients are like a separate part of the puzzle, I guess.
Yeah. So I guess like so you're saying because of the way it works, that if everybody is at their homes, then you're going to have high latency in the network, and basically it'll affect the network performance. So it won't be performant. So
you lose fast finality, and the whole way the software is designed is that fast finality is more important than like the other
decentralization.
Yeah, there are a whole bunch of other properties that you trade off on, like fast finality, liveness, well, obviously like the kind of what's the somebody come to my aid here. The whole point of proof of stake versus proof of work,
rugging,
the censorship resistance part, like
marketing.
There
is no censorship resistance.
Right. Well,
is this simple
everybody
right away?
running all at Hetzner.
Well, no, but what I also mean is you can literally just like export the fucking chain state and then just delete it, because if the validators all decide that is the state, then it's easy peasy. And I get you can also do that with proof of work, but it's much harder.
Well,
like,
proof of work,
chain.
Yeah, I think you'd have to own the blocks for like a while to be able to actually change the. But I mean, it can be down to one. Like if you command most of the network and there's a high frequency of block creation, like you can do it, but you'd have to.
I mean, look at like Ethereum proof of stake. It's still like the finality on that is still quite slow, because they're still kind of coming off of it.
Yeah,
I guess. Actually, no, that's not a fair comparison.
There is an absolute shit ton of fucking nodes.
yeah,
it's not fair. It's not actually a fair comparison in any way. They're doing a different trade-off there, aren't they?
I'm surprised it doesn't take a month to make a block on Ethereum.
But then Ethereum, to be fair, more people do run that from home.
Oh yeah, there's tons.
And that's your trade, and that's your trade-off illustrated there. Is that finality is not as fast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get they got some pretty harsh and swift slashings though as well. In I think like even data center hosted nodes, when the network started, were getting slashed. Wasn't there? What's that guy that's like that company that's like a total whitelister? White
all nodes? Is that who got slashed?
All nodes, yeah, he got slashed like straight away. At least one of their nodes did, straight off the bat. So no one's safe on there. I don't really know too much about either Ethereum POS, but it seems like Slashville.
I don't know. The block time is like dead. It's complete. I mean, it's 12 seconds, so it's not that hard to hit, but it is dead flat. Where before, like in the proof of work world, it was all over the place, but it is like dead flat in terms of that part. I mean,
12 seconds is a fair amount of time to like communicate.
Do anything. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and everyone's like, now in the Tendermint world, everyone's pushing for these sub 1 second blocks now, so it's just getting a bit crazy.
Which I would say Tendermint is not built for.
No, I don't think so. Especially
it's not built for it. Yeah,
but everyone wants to do it. There's just like if you speed up the chain by 10 times, you end up with 10 times the data. I don't know where in the fuck they intend to put it all, because no nodes are going to keep it. No validator is going to keep 10 terabytes of data after a year, because like your performance of your node would go to shit. You'd be missing everything. The database is just way too big. And so you're going to have archive nodes holding onto all this gear. But I mean, that's even getting pretty big. And when you look at the limitations of storage, like people are going to have to run like storinators of SSD to keep this network history.
There was a discussion about this already, wasn't there, the other day in the Juno private Val chat, where somebody was trying to work out like where Juno is now and how fast it's going in a like comedically large storage direction, and that's with 5-6 second blocks, where the decision was made to not speed up blocks because there's quite a lot of smart contract execution, and like you say, storage bloat is very real on Juno.
Well, we will also have performance issues as well. If we try to speed up the blocks, your requirements of your nodes go up by quite a bit just to be able to have all the execute in WASM. So all those shit nodes are just going to drag down the network anyway. And there's probably enough of them on the network to actually like delay blocks in any case to get consensus.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a matter of inefficiency. I mean, you can go look at. I think Say Network has been the biggest proponent of kind of driving the block time down, right? So I'm looking at the DevNet node. I was just bringing it up in Grafana. So on Say DevNet, there's I forget how many validators. It's a very small peer set. 14 validators on Say Dev, I think right now.
At a time.
Yeah. The set is 14.
They have that weird cycling program they're doing.
That's
right?
on. I think that's on Atlantic One. I'm just talking about DevNet.
Oh, okay.
I think DevNet has been kind of stating for that. So on the DevNet side, I think there's 25 validators. At any one time, there's between 2 and 10 that are missing. The block time on average is about 676 milliseconds. So, which is, really fast in Cosmos terms. In other networks, it's not incredibly fast. And right now, our NVMe on that drive is writing at 40 megabytes per second. So it's writing at 40 megs a second, and there's zero transactions. There's nothing.
So that leads to something I was thinking of, where like I'm not really worried about these problems because I'm almost 100% sure all of this stuff is going to be solved with out of the box thinking eventually. Like what I feel like what Say is doing, at least to a layman like me, is sort of brute forcing for speed. They're taking what's already there and configuring it and tweaking it and pushing boundaries to get it as fast as possible. But at some point here, someone's going to come up with a totally new innovative solution. Your example is perfect there, Surfer. Like if there are no transactions going on, there's no reason it should be writing and reading that much. Like I absolutely do not have my head wrapped around it. Don't know if it's even true. I just don't care that much. But I started reading a little bit about like a cool thing that Cardano does with their transactions and with like batching and then also pruning blocks. Like I think there will be both innovations to our core infrastructure tech as well as like third-party solutions that'll come around that will solve these things from like a totally different angle. Like there's no reason to, no matter how fast the blocks are, that you should be writing that much if there's no transactions, right? Why are those blocks not just like empty? Like you just do the compute to verify them, but I don't know. This is getting outside of my expertise to speak on, but you know what I mean? Like I think whereas Say's brute forcing it, I think creative, something akin to like what L2s were for Ethereum at first. Like this totally, like we can't speed up Ethereum, so let's think outside the box and do a side chain. Like, I don't know if we'll have side chains in Cosmos, but something.
Well,
yeah, no, I agree. I think that there's a, sorry, Schultz, I cut you off, but there's a drive to lower block times. So as that, and that wasn't really I would say a business driver, if you want to use the right term. If it wasn't really a driver, a functionality driver in the past, and now it's turning into Say clearly needs it if you want to be able to run an order book in some sort of chain, it needs to have some fast finality associated to it, and it needs to have some fast block times. And so will that drive innovation here? Absolutely. Like it's going to. Like I agree with you. It's going to happen. The real question turns into how many teams need that, and I would think that nobody would push against faster block times. Like every user experience is going to be better with faster block time, regardless if that's Stargaze and I want to be able to mint or be able to do a bid or something else. There's nothing bad associated to, I think, faster block times unless you get into this MEV space maybe, but we could talk about that later. So will there be innovation there? Yes. This question is like, where does that innovation come from and who has the motivation to do that? And how does that handle upstream? And and those types of things. And that's part of an open source network, right? So
see if that's the type of thing. If someone has a light bulb one day, they just have this phenomenal idea for how a generalized problem like this could be tackled that all chains share. We hope to get to a point where that's something they could come to Spark IBC with and run a campaign for funding and get that built.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry to segue back there, but that's just a perfect example. That's exactly the type of thing. Once we're bigger and more established, let's say the ICF turns their nose up at it for whatever reason. That's what we're here for.
And I also think that there will be some technical limitations that this architecture cannot support, which I think is where Schultz was headed in another chain that we're involved in, because at some point there will be some architectural fundamental decisions that were made years ago that cannot support specific needs. And so it'll require either a reboot or a rewrite or something similar to that, which will be, somebody will say, well, why do we do this in the Cosmos? Why don't we launch Cosmos 2 and rework the IBC problems, right?
Isn't there ABCI? I could be completely wrong about this, but isn't lazy blocks potentially a thing that is going to come to Tendermint when they launch ABCI++? Citation needed.
I'm not sure. I got nothing.
I feel like this is something that Schultz. I was kind of looking to Schultz. I was like,
I know.
Everybody's looking lower left.
I know.
Somebody in the last few weeks has talked to me about lazy blocks coming, and I can't remember in what context and on what time scale. And then my brain was just like, is this ABCI plus? Is this a butterfly meme? Is this ABCI++? Have I just suddenly joined the dots and understood it, or are they two completely unrelated things?
Yep,
I got nothing. I've been driving for the last 2 weeks, so
he's like, I don't know. I'm just staring at I-80 West or whatever it is. I think we talked about this a bit ago, Frey. Like we were talking about what the actual core competency and what's the most valuable thing within the Cosmos, and because we were talking about from a Cosmosm. Not Cosmosm, but I forget what Larry's writing in terms of rewriting the Tendermint.
Oh, right. So CWSDK. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Mm-hmm. So, and what's the core value of Cosmos? And that might be IBC, right?
IBC,
and so if IBC is the core value, then this block speed issue and all this type of who gives a shit, right? Because what we really are talking about is just an API. And so if anything can talk to that API
already I think what you're going to arrive at is the thing we talked about, I think a couple of shows, maybe it was more shows ago.
There's been so many.
Was on. It's been a lot. We were 36 apparently. But we were talking about that somebody had done a proof of concept with Narwhal. Like a different consensus because obviously the interesting thing about the way Cosmos chains are structured is that the consensus engine is over here, and then the state machine replication that was difficult to do, is over here, and you build your application chain on top of your state machine, but the consensus layer is just it's just how consensus is arrived at, and as long as it's kind of dealt with via a standard API, you can sort of switch them out. Although the blog post is interesting reading, I'll try and find it for the show notes. It turns out ABCI, like all APIs, makes some assumptions. So, but then those things, they're subject to change. And the fact that they got it running at all is kind of interesting, even if they were like, this is not going to work in production.
Right.
So that kind of, again, gives a kind of pointer to where we sort of might be going. And that is the underlying thesis of CWSDK. I don't know. Actually, I guess I can't speak for everybody that wants to be involved in that. But I know I've talked to a few people. I've talked to shout out to Matt Bell from Nomic, who helped me with some really dumb questions about their Merkle tree implementation, because I had some really idiot level questions, and he was super lovely and helpful and non-judgmental about my stupid questions. But talking to people like that, there seem to be quite a few people in the Cosmos space that have a similar inkling that there's people who want just Rust tooling, and then there's people who are like, oh, and this also unlocks the centrality of IBC as a concept, because the only Rust tooling we have at the moment is Rust IBC, so we're free to rethink some of the other bits of value, right? And I think there's a group of people around CW SDK and associated things that are kind of looking in that direction, right?
Right.
Which maybe is, I mean, and obviously that doesn't preclude like re-architecting the Go side, which I think was what you were kind of hinting at there as well, right? Because
Well,
you can change existing chains, right? That's totally possible. We can just upgrade them.
And technology, like those are all good things. And technology takes you so far. And to our point earlier about when we're going back to the JQuan structure, is if you don't step on your own, it's a terrible, maybe I won't say this, but if you don't step on your own whatever while you're getting there, and you don't drive too much drama, and you don't drive like those types of tooling and those changes, we need people and we need developers and you need interest. And this is not a very large ecosystem. And the more drama that comes into that ecosystem, all these great visionary ideas of how this might work in the future get sidetracked because of stupid shit. Right. And that's the real part that kind of concerns me is all that is absolutely right. But you have to have the right people involved, and you have to have the right, those people have to have vision in terms of where this is going and what the outcome could be and why this is the right way to do this. And the more stupid shit that comes up from a DPS perspective, boy, does that impact, I think, from a long-term, how the success of this whole ecosystem. My 2 cents.
Yeah. I mean, the fact that it has to, that it's now come about because Larry, who is a committed and clever dev, just decided one morning to get up and just start writing code on it.
Right.
So then that would catalyze other people to actually do the thing that a variety.
That's how it happens, right?
Yeah, but the fact that it's one dev is that's super, super cool, and it shows that there are people who really, really care about the cosmos.
Well, it shows that people ignore that stupid shit the way we do, except on this show. But that none of that stuff drives us, right? Like, it doesn't drive my participation or anything else. Like, it's just something that is there that I wish would go away. But you're right. Like, Larry just puts his head down and gets it done.
But
right?
It's mad that there are organizations in the Interchain that are sat on top of massive dollar treasuries, like massive.
Yeah.
And they could have done this at any point in the last few years.
This being what Larry's doing?
Yeah. What the
sure.
CWSDK project is doing, which is starting to look at what could be done with a future version of Cosmos chains that are centered entirely around the value add of IBC.
Right. But is that just a priority thing? Like, they think there's other low-hanging fruit that might be better use of time and effort versus a re-architecture type of idea? Or,
well,
I don't know,
man. Like, if I had $30 million in the bank or something, I could find enough devs to run more than one team to work on more than one thing. Do you know what I mean?
True enough.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of priorities. Like, I'd never get to write code again, but you'd have to manage people full time. But you can do it. Like, it's scaling a company is hard. It's like much, much harder than writing code.
Right.
But if you've got money, then that's the hardest bit done.
Yep.
I mean, I obviously don't know everything there is to know about business, but I'm pretty sure step one is like, anyway, no, step one is acquire underpants, isn't it? Then question mark, then profit. So forgive me, I got it all backwards. We don't need to build software. It's fine.
And there is no step two. On that note,
that's what the ICF has been doing all along. Maybe they just have like a massive warehouse of pants, and they're just like,
what do we do now?
Now what?
Thanks for coming on, Timmy. We really appreciate it, mate, and great to hear about the for the good of the Cosmos ecosystem projects you're working on. And I hope that people turn around their delegations and start flicking a bit your way, try and get you up that list a bit, get you away from the floor is lava situation. And
rest assured, once we're safe, we'll continue champion and pioneering other small vals that are in the situation we were in. So
Definitely, and that's one thing that a lot of people, like a lot of the better operators, do. They get themselves going, they pull themselves up, and then they start helping other people, and we really appreciate that type of effort.
I guess actually, in that note, I feel an obligation here to shout out some of the vals that have helped us get into active sets, whether it's with their delegations or just helping out on the tech side. But Notional, Cleomedes, Ted Crypto. God, I don't even want to go on a list because I know I'm going to miss some. But for anyone who hears this, if you guys have helped us out, immensely grateful, and we'll definitely be returning the favor one day.
On that note,
Nice, well done, dude. You're getting better.
Try not to be a total asshole.
No, it's good. That was great.
I feel it's
really
nice to thank our guests before we just asshole them.
Did you thank him, or you just said on that note and you hit the button?
We said
Well,
thank you
on that note.
Oh, you did? Okay.
You said thanks first, and then I said on that note.
I was eating a Reese's
see
pieces.
I thought in general that was that was a pretty wholesome conversation.
Yeah,
Lots of wholesomeness.
We are getting better. 30,
After
by
36 episodes, we're like,
we've got
we're
by
getting the
100 of
hang
these,
of
we'll know
it
what the
thing,
fuck we're doing.
guys. We're getting the hang of it.
By 100, by number 100, man.
we're going to be
Things gonna be cruising.
well-oiled machine.
Decidedly
cruising.
mediocre by 100.
I mean, it's we have I would say we have an impressive commitment at the very least to maintaining a time slot and
We have.
being here as much as possible. Although obviously only Null has been here for all of 36. But
No, he missed one.
Oh
wait, that's not right.
I didn't miss it. I was gonna. I came.
You showed up at. That's right. That was the
I
one
was
with.
sick.
Right, that's the one
I
that
showed up.
You
I was
did.
sick in a caravan in the middle of the country with.
Yeah.
Thanks,
to
Elon.
To shit on.
Thanks for buying Twitter, Elon.
Correct.
Looking forward to paying for a tick.
the question will be will Game of Nodes the podcast outlive the Cosmos SDK?
Ooh.
Go on, some spice. Some spice.
Over under on that.
I think it will.
Oh, we should do that.
We'll place bets now.
We should. Yeah. We need a betting system that's on chain.
We need a betting system that will make a market on literally anything.
And we could sign it, put it up there, show that we bet on it the right way. Mm-hmm.
Well, there's a betting platform. Wait, maybe I can't talk about it. Forget about that.
Wait, never mind. You didn't hear about that.
Wait, they're on Twitter now? I don't know.
There was
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to breach my NDA.
That exists on
It's
Ethereum.
public now.
Is it? Yeah.
It is.
It is, Schultzy?
Yeah.
Maybe you should shill it so I don't get in trouble.
No, I'm not gonna show it. I'm just sitting here.
Yeah. I'm just in the room, man.
I'm just around, don't know, whatever. So
I did hear about it. There's a couple other things. There's off the Cosmos, a couple other ecosystems. There is a couple of those that you can actually place a bet and sign it and be able to, like, if you want to pick a Super Bowl winner at a specific point, you can do that individually with a specific odd, put it on chain and see it. We could do that on something like this. And I think they're opening up where you could have, I'll find the link and put it in the show notes. You can open up to any bet. So if you had just 2 or 3 friends, you wanted to bet how long would Null's hair get before he gets a haircut, on the side of his head, and say it's gonna be over a quarter inch.
Haircut.
I know.
I'm heading for a 0 later on today. I can't wait.
it's going to Null. But you could take it. You could put it on chain.
It's getting hot. It's getting real fucking hot around here.
Is it? Oh yeah, summer's coming, right?
The kind of heat where you're sitting on your leather couch in your RV and your ass is just pouring with sweat.
thanks.
Fucking shooting kangaroos out the window and shit.
You've got the searchlights on.
Be careful those drop bears.
Could you imagine shooting kangaroos bouncing around in the paddock in an RV, just fucking
sweaty ass shooting kangaroos out the window.
There's a lot of them, I guess.
I can imagine that.
I guess you got to eat them. You got to. Do you eat kangaroo? You got to eat them.
You can eat them. They're a bit gamey though.
Okay. Because I would say as long as you only shoot what you're going to eat, there are so many kangaroos in Australia, right? That
so many.
You're not going to actually run out of you're not going to cause them to be endangered if you shoot a couple just to eat them, right?
No, I don't think so.
I think even as a kind of pseudo vegetarian, I'm kind of okay with that.
It's like a deer situation here in the US.
Yeah. Right? Deer are they literally would starve to death in the UK in winter unless you cull them. It's too many.
Yeah,
so we're about to hit the deer cull, which means I get a couple of guilt-free venison.
Hey.
Venison tenderloins, man. Those things are good. Smoke them up. Are we burning an NFT? Is that what we're doing here?
Oh, this is what was on the fucking spreadsheet.
So we on a previous episode of the show, we said we were going to burn an NFT live on air, and then like Null couldn't get his things in gear to actually burn one.
Like I've got my ledger in my hand now, so I'm thinking that's step one. So
Step one.
Let's do 21.95.
What are we going to burn?
Bad kids.
What burn? No,
come on, let's make it a real.
Burning a bad kid.
Let's burn bad kid 21.95. Come on, let's
do it. You can pick anything else.
Anyone can burn anything else.
Anything else? What IBC friends 7215?
It's the rainbow too, man.
No, I mean, I think you should probably burn the BitCanna one. That IBC friend looks pretty chill.
I mean, it Funky looked happy too. You know what I mean?
I think Ghost was
subscribing.
Yeah, that's actually the best of your IBC friends as well. The other ones aren't so good. That mutant primates is awful. That is.
Yeah, you can burn that too.
Yeah, the BitCanna is the worst so far. The BitCanna is definitely the worst.
Well, I mean, do we want to burn in? I mean, if you want to look, if you want to like choose which one to burn,
I do.
And then I can pick one from your wallets. There's going to be a lot of good fucking NFTs get burnt in the next couple of weeks.
I'm not going to let you burn my glitch candies. That shit is actually cool and costs money.
I was like, what if I bought one of those, those like 50,000 star mint ones and like burnt one of those, but it just seems like a waste of stars.
It doesn't seem like a waste.
Seems like a waste of stars.
Partial match says like kill the monkey. So, I mean, I feel like.
Write in the comments which one do you want to get. So no, show us what else you got. Right?
Yeah, what else you got in this?
Write in
All
viewers.
Right, so I've got
you want to kill.
I have an acre NFT. I'm sure I had like 10 of these fucking things. I don't know where they've gone. I don't understand this interface 100%. So I'm sure I had more baby Adams as well. I don't know what a baby Adam does, but I don't think they're worth much. We got my prized bad kids here, which I'll never part with. Never. We've got the BitCanna Butthead, which Discovery DeFi says
Bud
the Reaper.
I'm kind of partial to Bad Kid 2194. That one looks like the Grudge lady.
Oh, the 2194 up here?
Yeah.
It looks like that bird that crawls out of the screen. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. Or no, that's from the Ring. Not the Grudge.
That's the Ring. Yeah. Were you talking about the Ring or the Grudge? I don't know the Grudge.
The Ring. I don't know what the Grudge is either. That's just the first one that came to my head, but I was thinking the same thing you are.
Otherwise, like the Grudge. No, wait, the Ring.
Wait, no.
I don't know what the Grudge is either. Who brought up the Grudge?
That is definitely the Ring lady. We got a couple of IBC friends. I didn't get into the first round of that. They minted too quick while I was sleeping. Everything happens while Null's asleep. Late night with Null.
Yeah.
So you still minted 4.
This was the second round after someone gave me
the
heads up.
I got you.
Round
okay.
2.
But I'm pretty sure they're worth
Gotcha.
dick. We've got a mutant primate. I don't know where that came from. And then like there's just a lot of
shit.
Miscellaneous shit down here. Like
Misc.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure I bought one of these cruiser things, and then like all this other shit started to appear in here.
Yeah, I had the same first wave minter and some other stuff.
Okay,
yeah.
I need one moment. The Grudge is the Japanese version of the Ring. I don't know why that's what popped in my head.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it is.
Holy shit!
So is the original.
Is it a remake? Is that what that is?
The Grudge is the original. The Ring was the American remake.
Oh no shit!
Mm-hmm.
There is no way that I've paid money for these Stargaze rockets, by the way. So I'm not sure where that's coming from, or whatever these rocket fuels is. So anyone who watches this, like if you want us to burn stuff, just send it to this wallet. It's my validator wallet.
Yeah, 21.95. I want you to burn 21.95.
21.95. What a start?
Yes,
a bad kid.
Yes,
I'm not burning a fucking bad kid.
Let's make it real. Like you can choose from my wall. You can burn something, whatever you want. Let's burn that one.
You're gonna move all the good shit now.
I don't know. Move to what?
Another wallet. Hey, let's start with a proof of concept. Let's get rid of this motherfucker. So this can be the proof of concept this week while I move away my bad kids. So BitCanna Butthead, for a bit of history, I've got no idea where the fuck this thing came from, but it's here. And it's red. I'm not a massive fan. So looks like he's going to see a 3D movie. Let's see if this works. So what do you just click this? Oh, it's irreversible. I can't get it back. Who knew?
You're saying it's immutable.
It is.
We could ask them to regenesis if we have to, if we want to pull it back.
Yeah, I mean, we can just
we could write a WASM contract to pull that back.
We got 3 validators. We could
whatever we need to do.
We'll just do a whip round and change the Genesis file.
We can just sneak a handler in there for the next.
Exactly.
Depending on who's in chat right now, we could probably reverse this if we had to.
So I feel like there's the Dragonberry thing where since after the Dragonberry fix, it just logs Dragonberry active all the time. I feel like it'd be very, very, very funny to basically try and sneak out an upgrade that overwrote the logger. To just go like, you didn't check the upgrade handler. So everybody goes like, wait, hang on, what the fuck?
Does that log mean that it is actually stopping some sort of transaction? That it doesn't mean anything, right? It's just showing it.
I think it's just logging when maybe when the IBC module is called, it logs.
Oh, well, that's it, guys. It's burnt. It's done. It's gone.
Is it gone? That's
it's
it.
Gone.
It was
see ya.
cast into Mount Doom.
Cast into Mount Doom. Thanks for coming. See you all next week.
Absolutely sensational. So that's, I mean, we did say on the show we're going to burn an NFT live on air. That's now happened. Nobody can call us a liar.
That's right.
Collectively or individually, although we have just basically press gang Null into doing it, and the rest of us haven't done shit. So,
geez, I have more NFTs than you do. I thought you would be totally more than I would have.
Oh, man, I was just degenning for a while, but then like all the mints are fucking. They started like in the middle of the night, and all the good ones they're gone. So I'm just
I don't have that many though.
My bags under my eyes are already big. They can't afford to be much bigger. They'll consume my actual eyeballs.
The other bags, right? Not the ones in your pockets. You mean the ones under your eyes?
The ones under my eyes, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a savage week, boys. There's just
a lot of shit going on this week,
and the test nets and the fucking oh my god.
I feel like October was just
I think there's been a lot going on in general.
So is anybody in this podcast like freaking out about this Hetzner thing or no? We didn't really talk about if anybody's making.
I don't roll with Hetzner, son. They won't have me. That like they ejected me before I got there.
Yeah, but your email's like fucking Null's big balls at bigballsblockchain.com, like or something.
Yeah,
I just got us demonetized, by the way, fellas. Sorry about that.
I think we're demonetized.
Let's be fair, I said fuck Jay. No,
what monetization?
If I said fuck Jay earlier, sorry, I didn't mean to say fuck Jay. That is a personal attack, and I have a disagreement with potentially, a lot of things, but a personal attack is just no. I think I said fuck off. That's a different.
So
thing.
for all who come to this podcast to get sweet vengeance from the rumor that you've heard of someone going after Jay, it was that guy.
Yeah, I think I said thanks, Jay, but we don't need the drama. Fuck off, something like that. Which I mean, if there's a kind of validator, there's a kind of lazy, half committal, like frey like comment. That's probably like the absolute apex of my energy. It's just like you've really tired me with your drama. Fuck off, but thank you as well because I'm British. So I have to say thank you. Thank you for your hard work.
Thank you and fuck off.
Thank you for your hard work.
Would you like a cup of tea?
Thank you for your hard work. Tendermint is really like groundbreaking in its own way. It's going to lead to so much cool stuff in the future. Thanks very much. Fuck off. But thank you. And genuinely, you're very clever, but you are probably an anti-Semite. And although I can't 100% prove that, I'm like 95% sure, and I'm not like super jazzed about it.
There's a lot of evidence.
This is a lot of evidence in Git commits, really.
Yeah, there is, right?
So Hetzner, well, I mean, I'm freaking out. I don't even run on Hetzner. I'm just like, this is not good.
Yeah.
No, well, I mean, they haven't really started to punt any Tendermint nodes yet, have they?
I also did anybody also notice that Null did not in any way deny that his email was big balls blockchain at bigballsblockchain.com or whatever it was I said. He's just like,
I'm fucking registering that as we speak.
bigballsblockchain.co.ck. Yeah. You need the co.ck in there. That's bigballsblockchain.cock.
I actually like
That's why they actually got rid of you. But
That can be my
like,
scribble.
didn't you try and register with Hetzner with like blockchain in your email address?
Yeah, blockchain is in my company name.
So
Thus, it's
like,
in my
it
email
wasn't,
address.
It wasn't like they had to like get a private investigator to work out what your business did. They were like, well, this guy's obviously banned.
The funny thing was, I sent them an email and I'm like, hey, man, hey, guy,
Hey,
what's wrong? And they're like, reasons, go away. They wouldn't tell me. I said, why won't you take my business? And they're like, we reserve the right to not fucking tell anyone why we won't take their business. So piss off.
You didn't get the email for what was the name of the username that posted on Reddit that kicked the whole thing off?
Who?
Katie?
Aaron
No,
or
Katie.
Katie or
Katie didn't
Crystal?
email me. It was some
Katie
other
the
random.
intern or something? You didn't get any
today
email
was
from Katie
networks, right? Was
It
it
was the-
networks
it was the
or something
German.
like that? Yeah.
You know, I'm curious how they actually detect who's on their platform. Like, are they hitting an
Port.
endpoint? They're checking the port.
Someone said it was traffic
guess is-
related, so probably the
Yeah, my
port.
guess it's port. It's some basic
8,000.
stupid shit like whatever the Solana port is or something.
If you're on
8,000 series.
Hetzner and you're running a Cosmos chain, make sure you're not running it on 26656, baby.
26658 for the win.
Yeah,
Yep.
put it in the 300s and start at one.
Just put it on 8080, man.
80. Nobody gives a shit. Exactly.
8080, you could be literally clubbing seals to death and
You
transmitting
could.
pure like a stream of clubbing seals to death.
Sport.
Nobody's
Port
ever going to look
22.
at that traffic. They're just like 8080, boys will be
It's fine.
boys.
Well, the funny thing is, like anyone who's actually taking heavy traffic on a Tendermint RPC would be doing it through 443. So, well, actually, no. Well, that's actually just the RPC
Maybe.
traffic in it. So they're still going to be on some public. I wonder if do you reckon just in traffic or out traffic? Because you can be a prick node and just not actually take any inbounds and only do outbound connections.
Firewalled off.
Yeah,
Could
but
be.
I guess they would still know that you're sort of communicating on that port. What the fuck is this shit in the?
I'm surprised that it was only 20% in Solana. It was. I mean, that the number is high. I guess it makes sense, but I mean, also it's weird that those nodes are pretty high powered and lots of RAM and fast SSD and everything else. But I'm surprised it wasn't a little bit higher.
Well, maybe they only have like, if you look at all the nodes that are on Hetzner, like the majority are in like a standard distribution, and those nodes were like way outside, and so they were just like,
Why is someone spamming our chat with shit? Have we become so popular that people think they're coming to shill to 7 people?
I think what's happened is that
We made it, boys.
Sex bots
We
are
fucking
better
made it.
at marketing than we are.
We've made it, boys. We've made
Dude,
it.
If there's
Go buy yourself a nice cup of coffee. We've made
there's
it, boys.
if there's a crypto pump and dump spammer in our chat, we've definitely made it. That's
So
our
news
sign.
just in, and this might be extreme alpha, but actually on Kujira, which none of us make any money from, they're starting to talk about actually supporting the nodes from the treasury, I believe. They're working out some sort of fair amount at the moment.
Really?
To try and, so this is related to the Hetzner. It's been prompted from the Hetzner issue to move to like another provider, which obviously may cost more money. So yeah, they've started that conversation with the validators. So I mean, that's pretty cool. They called it a stipend, and I didn't know what that was, so I had to ask.
A stipend.
What is it? Sure.
Sure.
Stipend's just like an allowance.
Stipend?
Yeah.
Yeah, a stipend, a recurring payment, usually to pay for some kind of an expense.
Yeah.
I mean,
If you say so.
That's what it is.
it's quite a common word. I would
That's
say.
like code
don't you
hands. Code hands. What's stipend? He said it's money, my
Stipend?
friend. It's money.
It's money in Britain.
It's
Yeah.
money.
Yeah.
Is that doxed?
So what is this other item we have in here about the Ansible, Terraform, and automation hellscapes?
Are we done freaking out about fucking Hetzner?
I mean, fucking
over.
heads up. Like, just move. And
Going
be
back
done
to
with
that, I don't honestly don't. And also, I heard a rumor today that it was more about Germany than it was about Finland. Is that right? Like more of the
Oh, really?
FSN nodes got killed than the actual Finland nodes. Did you guys hear that?
Well, I also heard that it's not all Solana validators. There have been quite a few that posted like, we're still there. So
They just posted on Twitter, we're still there. Not fucking long.
A different
That's
port.
the real.
Yeah,
That's
come find me.
Yeah, Kate
one note that
fucking on Solana Twitter going like, oh, okay. If you
Just
just
like
tell me what your IPs are, lads, that would be really
taunt
helpful.
Katie, like, black out part of your IP and just taunt Katie with like logs.
I'm not here. I saw something about like it was Germany related. And it was also because of an energy spike or something similar to that, and like the government came down and said that you guys are using way too much energy, and so they went after Solana validators because for some reason they burn more, which I don't understand why that would be.
That sounds like absolute bullshit to me.
It does, right? Like I don't see any reason like it would be anything related to that, but it wasn't in Finland. It was more German. I don't know.
They are so there does tend to historically be more regulation in Germany, and
yes.
there will be in some countries in Europe blackouts this winter, probably because of the energy crisis, which people really don't want to think about, but it's like moderately likely it's going to be enough energy. So maybe it's actually not really so much regulation as like Hetzner trying to work out what workload they could drop off if they're looking at their own like generator capacity and they're going like, what's not bringing in much money and is causing an outsized cost are presumably the people running big old boxes. What's bringing in like the most money? I imagine it's like people who are just like running boring cheap workloads on 20 euro instances, and they're probably going like, okay, can we prove some of these are breaking our TOS? Sorry.
But as a pretty forward-thinking, low-cost, high availability data center provider that runs in Germany, that's German-based and also based out of Finland, do they give a fuck about anything that we're talking about? They don't. Like, they're not. Their TOC on the crypto side, they don't give a shit, right? Like, they might have some German government pressure that's going on here, but I don't even know what that would be. So I'm not sure where this is coming from. Yeah, right.
Shrug, man. Don't know.
Yeah, a bunch of shrugs.
I saw Schultzy on mute. I felt like you were about to say something.
I mean, I've got ideas, right? Solana, we know, is like super heavy, right? And if they're going after their large providers to like create a statement, they first should go after Ethereum in theory. They'd go after Solana. And then basically anything after that is kind of small in relation to those two. Right. And so it just kind of makes sense if they're just trying to like make a statement, you start with the big guys. And I don't even know that they kicked anyone on Ethereum off yet, right? So, and Ethereum, I think now that it's proof of stake, isn't actually that big of a deal.
We run a bunch of Kingnodes. I don't think that it's really anything that's there. It's really requiring any sort of. It's not like Solana in terms of block times and everything else, right? 12-second block times, like nobody gives a shit. Like it's really slow and slow memory and everything else.
Yeah. So that's my theory. Is that Solana, because it's just so heavy. I mean, it's like it's not flirting with being proof of stake heavy, but as far as the proof of stake network, it's quite heavy. So it makes sense that they'd go there, especially with how heavily it was utilized. 20% of the network was on it, and then there's probably even more just from APIs or from RPC endpoints.
I don't know. Fuck them.
Fuck them.
Realistically, they're coming after Cosmos validators or RPC nodes. I would think the chance of that are pretty low. Who's going after 26656? It's such a small ecosystem. I don't know. Seems like there's other fish to fry before that happens.
I feel like once again there was an opportunity in that for a t-shirt for merch.
Who's going after 26656?
Dropping knives. Nobody's going after 26656.
Yeah.
I'm sure we could make some really like distasteful shirts related to.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's some distasteful shit. What's that? There's a lot of American ones about like various amendments on there. You could definitely there's definitely a. And there's actually to be fair, there's also the EFF one, isn't there? With the comeback with a warrant.
Hey, what was the shirts we came up with last week? Did we actually put that on the notes?
Dropping nines.
Dropping nines.
Dropping nines.
But yeah, there's something before that. I can't remember what it was, but yeah, dropping
So,
nines.
like, we should ask if anyone is
what
actually
was it?
interested in us minting some Gone merch.
Let's do it.
Yeah, I mean, I can do it if people want it. We have fucking good ideas.
Getting some t-shirts made.
Yeah, we just like mint some shirts and fucking
Yeah,
flick
we
them
could-
out.
Yeah. Delegate. We could make some money. Delegate all the Pikachu.
Yeah.
How we do.
That's how we do it.
That's how we do it. This has all just been a long rug pull to like make some more money for Pikachu, basically.
Man, like Pikachu, he's in the polka dot, right? Surely he's minted. Yeah.
He's one of the only people that was full time before almost the rest of us were.
Is he like the one you're talking about that's sitting on this massive treasury that he could pay for some development? Is it?
No, I don't.
Who's that? Who you're referring to? No,
I think I was referring to the ICF, wasn't I?
Oh, right.
It's close. It's about the same.
I mean, it's also obvious now.